Have you ever watched a movie or talked to a native English speaker and thought, wait, what did they just say? It's like the words melt together into one long, fast sentence, and suddenly you feel lost.
You're not alone. Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. Welcome to the Speak English Podcast, where we help you practice and speak English with more confidence every single week.
Today, we're diving into a question that every English learner asks at some point. Why does native English sound so fast? And how can I improve my listening skills?
If you've ever felt frustrated because native speakers talk so quickly, stay with us. We'll explain what's really happening when English sounds fast and how you can train your ears to understand it better.
And before we jump in, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any tips, lessons, and real practice to help you become more fluent in English. Ready? Let's go.
So, let's start by understanding one important thing. If English sounds too fast for you, that doesn't mean you're bad at listening. Native speakers don't always speak clearly or slowly. They speak naturally, and that's what makes it feel difficult at first.
Yes, and natural English is very different from what you see in textbooks. In real conversations, native speakers connect words, reduce sounds, and skip syllables. That's why the sentences you already know sometimes sound completely unfamiliar when spoken.
You might have studied English for years, memorized vocabulary, and practiced grammar, but still feel confused when hearing real speech. That's because classroom English and real-life English are often two very different versions of the same language.
One of the biggest reasons English feels fast is because of something called connected speech. This is when native speakers blend words together so that entire phrases sound like one long sound instead of many individual words.
Another thing that makes English tricky is the use of reductions. These are common phrases that are shortened in casual conversation. For example, going to becomes gonna and want to becomes wanna. These changes happen naturally in speech.
And we also have what we call unstressed words. These are words that are technically there, but they're said so softly or quickly that they almost disappear. Prepositions, articles, and helping verbs often fall into this category.
All of this makes English sound faster than it really is. It's not that native speakers talk at super speed. It's that the rhythm, the reductions, and the flow make it hard for learners to hear where one word ends and another begins.
That's why it's so important to study the way English is spoken, not just the vocabulary. Once you learn to recognize connected speech and reductions, you'll start to hear the words you already know, and your listening will improve dramatically.
And remember, understanding fast English isn't about learning more words. It's about training your ears to recognize the natural rhythm and patterns of spoken English. That skill comes with time, attention, and focused listening practice.
We'll show you how to do exactly that in the next parts of this episode. But now that you understand why English sounds fast, let's listen to some real examples to see how these patterns actually sound in native speech.
Let's take a basic sentence like, "What are you doing?" In real casual speech, that often becomes, "What you doing?" Notice how the sounds are blended. What are turns into whatcha, and you is reduced. This is a perfect example of connected speech.
Here's another one. I'm going to eat. You've probably learned this in class, but in fast natural English, this becomes I'm gonna eat. Going to is reduced to gonna. It's not incorrect. It's just how native speakers talk in real life.
Now, try listening to this. Did you eat yet? In normal conversation, you might hear it as didja eat yet. The words did and you combine into didja. If you're not used to it, it sounds completely different from what you learned.
Think about this one. I have to go. Native speakers often say, I have to go. That small word have changes to hafta because it's faster to say. These changes happen naturally and constantly in everyday conversation.
Let me give you a full sentence. I've got to finish this before 5. When spoken quickly, it becomes, I gotta finish this for 5. Notice how I've got to becomes I gotta, and before is shortened to for. Everything flows together.
You see the same thing with questions. For example, do you want to come with us? Becomes, do you want to come with us? In fast speech, do you turns into ja, and want to becomes wanna. It's all about rhythm and speed.
Another example, he is going to be late. That turns into, he's gonna be late. The full phrase becomes shorter and more fluid. And when you hear it for the first time, it might seem like a completely different sentence.
Now listen to this. I don't know. In everyday English, people often say, I don't know. 3 separate words are reduced into one quick phrase. If you only listen for the full words, you'll miss what's actually being said.
Let's try something longer. Would you like a cup of coffee? That becomes, would you like a cup of coffee? Would you becomes would ya, and of becomes This is how native English flows. Fast, smooth, and full of reduced sounds.
These examples show how native English uses linking, reductions, and dropped sounds. And once you become familiar with them, you'll start to hear words you already know. Up next, we'll explain why this kind of listening can transform your fluency.
Once you begin to understand how real English sounds, everything changes. You stop feeling lost during conversations, movies, or podcasts. You recognize patterns, and suddenly, spoken English becomes something familiar instead of something confusing.
Exactly. And that recognition builds confidence. You're no longer guessing or feeling nervous every time someone speaks quickly. You know what to expect, and your brain starts to process spoken English much faster, almost without effort.
It also makes your own speaking more natural. When you get used to how English really sounds, you start copying those rhythms and reductions. Your pronunciation improves, and people understand you more easily when you speak.
Another benefit is better listening during real conversations. You'll notice that you don't have to ask people to repeat themselves as often. You'll catch more details, and you'll respond more quickly, which keeps the flow of the conversation alive.
Plus, your vocabulary improves through context. When you understand how words are used in fast, everyday speech, you pick up new phrases and expressions more naturally. You don't have to memorize. You absorb English the way natives do.
Understanding native speech also reduces stress. You stop blaming yourself for not understanding, and you realize that it's not about intelligence. It's about training. That shift in mindset is powerful for long-term learning.
You'll also enjoy English content more. Movies, shows, music, YouTube, videos. Instead of watching with subtitles all the time, you'll begin to follow what's being said and feel truly connected to the language.
And as you improve your listening, you'll notice your speaking becomes smoother. You start to think in English more easily, and your sentences flow better because you're modeling what you hear in natural speech.
Another huge benefit is the feeling of progress. Listening to fast English used to feel impossible, but now you can follow it, understand it, and respond to it. That gives you motivation to keep going and improving every day.
And remember, this is a skill you can build. It's not something only advanced learners can do. You just need the right strategy, the right practice, and a little patience. And that's exactly what we'll show you next. Let's break it down step by step.
First, choose short clips of real English. These can be from movies, TV shows, or native podcasts. Make sure the clip has natural conversation, not scripted or overly formal speech. Just 10 to 15 seconds is perfect for focused practice.
Then, listen to the clip several times without reading anything. Don't worry if you don't understand everything right away. The goal is to train your ears to catch the rhythm and sounds of native speech, just like tuning into a new song.
After a few listens, write down what you hear. Try to catch each word, even if it sounds reduced or connected. This will force your brain to slow down the sounds and pay close attention. You'll start noticing patterns like gonna or wanna.
Once you've written what you can, check the original script or subtitles if they're available. Compare your version with the real one. Notice where you missed sounds, where words were reduced, or where things were linked together.
Now it's time to shadow. That means repeating the sentence exactly as the speaker says it. Same rhythm, same reductions, same flow. Do this several times until it feels natural. This technique helps you improve both listening and speaking at once.
Next, say the sentence on your own without listening. Try to keep the same speed and sound of the native version. This helps you internalize the natural pronunciation and trains your muscle memory for future conversations.
Don't stop with just one clip. Try a new one every day. The more different voices and situations you hear, the faster you'll adapt to real English. Variety is key. Different accents, different speeds, and different topics keep your brain sharp.
Keep a small notebook or app where you write the common reductions and patterns you discover. For example, did you becomes didja, have to becomes hafta. Over time, you'll build a reference that makes listening easier and faster.
It's also helpful to slow down audio when you're starting. Many apps and video players let you do this. Start slow, then increase the speed as you improve. Eventually, you'll be able to understand full-speed English without needing subtitles.
Most important, stay consistent. 10 minutes a day is better than 1 hour once a week. Your ears need regular training, just like muscles. And when you follow this step-by-step process, real spoken English will become clearer, faster, and easier.
One common mistake is thinking that you must understand every single word to follow a conversation. That's not true. Even native speakers miss words sometimes. Focus on the general meaning, not perfection, and let your brain fill in the gaps.
Another mistake is relying too much on subtitles. If you always watch with subtitles on, your eyes work more than your ears. Try listening without them first. Train your brain to hear, not just to read, and only check the subtitles after.
Many learners also believe they need to translate every sentence into their language to understand. But translation slows you down. English has its own rhythm and logic. The more you listen, the faster your brain learns to process it directly.
A big error is skipping practice because native speech feels too fast. That's exactly why you need to practice it. Avoiding native speed only makes it scarier. Start with short clips and work step by step. Your brain will adapt over time.
Some people jump into long podcasts or movies and feel overwhelmed. That's like trying to lift heavy weights without warming up. Instead, begin with short, focused listening exercises so your ears can gradually build strength and confidence.
Don't choose clips that are too slow or too perfect. Real English isn't always clean. Practice with messy, natural speech, even if it's hard. That's what real conversations sound like, and that's the level you're aiming to understand.
Another trap is repeating the same clip too many times without trying new material. You might feel comfortable, but your brain stops learning. Switch things up regularly to challenge your listening and expose yourself to new sounds.
Be careful not to imitate incorrect pronunciation. When shadowing, use reliable sources spoken by native speakers. Bad input creates bad habits. Always check your practice materials and make sure they reflect how English is really spoken.
One more thing. Don't rush the process. Understanding fast English takes time. Celebrate small wins, like catching a new phrase or recognizing a reduction. These small moments build your confidence and keep you motivated.
And finally, don't study alone forever. Practice speaking and listening with other learners or native speakers. Real interaction helps you apply what you hear and pushes you to listen with more focus and attention. It's an essential part of growth.
Here's our challenge for you this week. Choose one short video clip, no more than 15 seconds, with native, fast English. Your mission is to listen to it 5 times a day. For 7 days. Don't worry about understanding everything at first. Just keep listening.
Then, on day 2, try writing down what you hear. Every word, even the ones that sound like they disappear. This is where you'll start noticing reductions and linking. It might feel tricky at first, but your ear will start to adapt quickly.
On day 3, begin shadowing the speaker. Play a sentence, pause, then repeat exactly what they say, with the same rhythm and tone. This helps you train both your ears and your mouth to work like a native speaker's.
Day 4. Try saying the sentence on your own without listening first. Can you still keep the natural sound? That's the test. Record yourself and compare your version to the original. Notice how close or how different it sounds.
For the rest of the week, add new clips or replay the same one using all the steps. Listen, transcribe, shadow, and speak on your own. The repetition is what builds skill. It's not just about understanding, it's about absorbing.
Make it fun. Choose clips that match your interests. Love cooking? Find a cooking video. Into sports? Use that. When you're interested in the topic, your brain stays more engaged, and learning becomes natural and enjoyable.
You can also share your challenge with a friend. Send them the clip and compare your transcriptions or recordings. Practicing with someone makes it more interactive and motivating, and a little competition can be fun too.
Create a listening journal this week. Write down new reductions or linked expressions you notice. For example, how "what do you want to do" becomes "what do you want to do?" Collect them and use them when you speak.
Don't forget to revisit the clip after a few days. It's amazing how much more you understand after repeated exposure. What sounded fast and confusing on day 1 may feel clear and easy by day 7. That's real progress.
And remember, the goal is not perfection. The goal is improvement. If you do this challenge for just 1 week, you'll notice a shift in the way you hear English. Try it, and let us know how it goes in the comments or by tagging us online.
Today, we explored one of the biggest challenges in English learning, why native speech sounds so fast, and what you can do to finally understand it. We talked about features like connected speech, word reductions and linking sounds, and how to train your ears step by step.
We also showed you how to avoid common mistakes and gave you a powerful challenge to help you improve faster. Now we want to hear from you. Have you ever struggled to understand fast English in real conversations or movies? What helped you get better?
Share your story in the comments. Your experience might help someone else in this community. And if you made it all the way to the end of this episode, that means you're serious about improving your English fluency. So here's a fun test.
Write the word skills in the comments so we know you're one of the dedicated learners who stayed with us. We love seeing who's truly committed to growing and taking their English to the next level. Let's keep this community strong and motivated.
And of course, if you found this episode helpful, please give us a like. It helps more learners discover this podcast, and it means a lot to us. We're here every week sharing tips to help you practice and speak English with confidence.
Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new episode. Thanks so much for listening today. Keep practicing, stay consistent, and remember, you are improving every single time you show up. See you next time on Speak English Podcast.